Tactical espionage action. Metal Gear Solid is a bunch of random words strung together by a crazy man, Hideo Kojima, a man famous for making cutscenes take up 90% of the game as he, in great detail, explains something that could be summed up in 10 seconds, take 40 minutes. We kick off with CCTV footage where a man named Solid Snake is being recruited for a super top secret mission to sneak into a base and rescue two blokes. The first one is the DARPA chief, and the second one is the president of the arms tech company. And also, if he's got a minute, he can deal with the Foxhound group, who are a bunch of baddies, but they used to be good guys, and then a new cast came along and they were all unlikable, so they took over the research base. Anyway, they have some demands. They want the corpse of Big Boss, who died in the last two games. Oh yeah, I should point out that Metal Gear Solid is actually Metal Gear 3, and no one played Metal Gear 1 and 2 because they didn't have the story depth of a jar of mayonnaise. As well as the corpse of Big Boss, they also want $1 billion. So Colonel Campbell is like, fuck their demands. Snake, you go in there and you sort them out. And Snake is like, okie dokie, where's my weapons? And Campbell's like, nah, you don't need weapons. You're only gonna save two dudes, it's fine. So Snake pops in his submarine and off we go. The terrorist man goes up in an elevator, knowing that someone has snuck into the base and needs to shoot down some jets that are being used as a decoy, using his fancy helicopter. At this point, we're introduced to Snake's support team over the telephone, psychic link, CB radio, Zoom meeting. By the way, I hope you like seeing this screen because it'll be in this video a lot. We have Colonel Campbell, who is Snake's old mate that wants him to do the mission. Naomi Hunter, who shares a phone number with the Colonel, always in the background shouting over the line like when you call your nan and she wants to bitch about Sandra from next door and your granddad keeps chiming in to talk about his diabetes. Mei Ling, who Snake uses as a premium chat-up line, she comes out with some right zingers. She says this.
If you're discovered by an enemy, you won't be able to use it. It's all made from currently existing technology.
You know, like most things are. And Master Miller, who has sunglasses and talks in a pompous British accent about rats. Snake sneaks into the tank hangar and takes the lift to the basement to find his first target, the DARPA chief. He crawls into a vent, spying on a girl in her underpants and a man taking a poo while still wearing his trousers. He finds the chief and is like, hello mate, let's get you home, shall we? And the chief is like, no, I accidentally gave the terrorist my password for the super secret nuclear weapon and I don't have two-factor authentication on. And then he dies of a heart attack and everything kicks off. Somehow the girl in the next cell breaks out, kicks her guard's ass, steals his clothes, and then lets Snake out of his cell. She holds a gun up to him. And then Snake pulls a gun out of his ass and starts aiming back. Where did he get this from? A bunch of real guards run in and are like, oi! And Snake calls the girl a rubbish baby who doesn't know how to use a gun. So she shoots a bunch of dudes and then runs off Baywatch style, showing us some cheeks. A floating pervert shows up and Snake gets a flash of the DARPA chief being dead but in a different room. But he can still see the body, so he's heavily confused. Snake got a bit of intel from the DARPA chief before he died though. He said to go into the basement's basement and find some walls that haven't been plastered properly. They had some dodgy builders in that did a shoddy job, drank excessive amounts of tea, overcharged and pissed off. So if Snake can find their workmanship, then he'll find where the president is. The president is tied up, surrounded by explosives, and an old man comes out, is like, I'm gonna shoot you now, and run in circles, and then they do a big chase like in Scooby-Doo. Snake wins the chase because a cyborg ninja shows up and cuts off the old man's hand.
Oh, he's got armor!
Ocelot runs off, and the robot goes ookity bookity boo and has a fit when he's near Snake. Then he scuttles away too. Snake rescues the president, who tells him to call up Meryl and that her phone number is on the back of the disc box. The only problem is I'm playing this digitally on a PS3 and have no box to look at. Then he dies of a heart attack too, after saying he gave away his password, and now Snake has failed his mission. Time to go home, he didn't rescue the targets.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Nope, sadly that's not the case, and Snake now needs to go find President Baker's mate who designed the super weapon Metal Gear thing, Dr. Emrick, who's in the next building. Snake heads to the building and steps on a bunch of claymore mines hidden in the ground. Then he gets a scam call from the Ring, someone called Deep Throat. I'll let you make your own jokes there. So he has a phone call, it's like, hello mate, did you know there's a bunch of mines on the floor? Okay, bye. And then Snake throws grenades at a tank and then proceeds on his way to the building. His phone rings again, and it's the Colonel and his mate in the background like, just so you know, you can't use guns in this room, okay? This is where they keep the nukes, and we don't want anything stupid to happen. Ironic that, because this is one of the most stupidest decisions in the entire game. Every fucker else can use guns, and they shoot me, also there's poison gas. Thanks, Colonel, I appreciate that one, buddy. The floor where Dr. Emrick is all electrified, because why not? This is how a science lab works, and Snake needs to take a remote-controlled missile around a big circle to destroy the circuit that's directly next to him through the window, and apparently blowing up the window is out of the question. Also, there's more gas because fuck you, science. Once the floor is discharged, he is able to head into the science lab, but a bunch of dead dudes are in the hallway. They were killed by the cyborg ninja, who we then see enter Dr. Emrick's lab. The cyborg scares the piss out of the doctor, literally. Then Snake comes in, it's like, oh hi, what's happening here? And the cyborg wants to have a fight with Snake, and he's talking like he knows him, and like they were best friends and had the best fights ever, and they had some weird toxic relationship. The doctor hides in a locker while Snake and the cyborg duke it out. The cyborg wants a fist fight, and will counter any shooting that Snake will do. The cyborg gets a little too excited in this fight, and starts saying inappropriate things like spank me harder, before having a seizure of electricity and then running away because Snake went too far and he didn't establish a safe word. Snake realizes this is Grey Fox, who was a character in the last 2 Metal Gear games, and Grey Fox was a previous boss fight that Snake makes sound epic as balls as he talks about it, describing it as a fist fight in the middle of a minefield during a big war at the enemy base. But really, the reality of it is it looked like 2 Tetris blocks rubbed up against each other. Dr. P Pants comes out of the locker and starts explaining how to disable the Metal Gear, before going on a massive tangent about anime and how his waifu pillow is the only one who understands him and insists on being called Otacon from now on. Snake is like, I have no idea what you're saying. Then Otacon replies with foo-woo. He asks Snake if he's seen Meryl's arse because it's lovely and he should spy on her in the toilets. This guy has problems. Otacon's been rambling about his favourite One Piece characters for at least half an hour and still hasn't changed his trousers that smell like Grandma's house. He decides it's time to leave and stumbles off in his invisible cloak and doesn't offer Snake a cloak that, you know, would be super convenient in a sneaking mission. Snake begrudgingly sneaks upon Meryl getting changed in the girls' toilets. He says a bunch of sad stuff about wanting to be a soldier, but Snake doesn't give a fuck because he has the emotional range of a yogurt. It's like, come on, we've got stuff to do. I've got no time for your drama. And then she starts hitting on him because ladies love a bastard, right? Wrong, it's because she's being possessed by the floating pervert we saw earlier. He is Psycho Mantis, who can read every input on your controller and counter whatever move he thinks is best. He knows the player too, and will reveal all of your secrets that you wrote in your diary, like how you have a big crush on Mei Ling and are too scared to tell her how you really feel. Snake's like, I'm not having this, and cheats to beat the psychic. He is then unmasked to reveal that it was Old Man Jenkins who runs the amusement park this entire time. And Meryl says ew because it's ugly, so they put the mask back on. Mantis reveals a secret path that goes to the communications tower, revealing Meryl's thoughts about how hot Snake is, and that she's super jealous of how he spanked the cyborg and not her. Snake's like, okay, bye, and off they go to the next area with dogs. The dogs hate Snake and keep trying to kill him. That's not fair, I want to pet the puppies. Then Meryl gets shot with a sniper rifle, and Snake panics and calls up HQ like, what the fuck do I do? And the Colonel has the genius idea to backtrack through 80% of the game, so far back to where we failed to rescue the president, to get a sniper rifle, and Snake is like, this is why I should have came with weapons, you morons. Upon returning, Meryl is gone, but the sniper is still there. Snake tries to aim the rifle, but has the steadiness of a plate of jelly in an earthquake. He heads to the tower, but oh no, it's a trap. The sniper and some stormtrooper goons catch Snake and take him to be tortured. They remove all of his items, including his shirt. Sniper will be horny on main. Here, Snake is finally introduced to the lead villain of the story, Liquid Snake. He is the exact same as Solid Snake, except this guy has a British accent and a blonde mullet. They're twins! Throughout the game, characters have been briefly talking about Liquid Snake and how they look alike. Liquid's like, dickhead, you stole everything from me. I'm supposed to be the super fancy Snake. And they are both the sons of Big Boss, who was the villain in the last 2 games that nobody played, because the graphics looked like a Christmas jumper falling down a flight of stairs. But Snake isn't the son of Big Boss, and this was retconned in to give the story more depth, because the first 2 games was essentially, here's a good guy kills bad guy, who we couldn't even be bothered to give a name except for Big Boss, because that sounds like a villain. Also, Big Boss was Sean Connery before the police came knocking and told Kojima that he can't steal images of celebrities and put them in his games. Anyway, back to this nonsense happening here. Ocelot tortures Snake and then throws him in a cell. There's a dead body in the cell. It's the DARPA chief, but he's super moldy and decaying, and Snake is confused because it takes more than 4 minutes for a body to go past its sell-by date, and all of his blood has been drained. Snake is sitting in his cell, stumped on what to do next, so he gives his friends a call to see if anyone fancies a chat, perhaps brainstorm a few solutions of how to get out of there. The guard here is the same one that Meryl beat up and stole the clothes of earlier, exposing some cheeks. He's come down with a cold and a case of the runs, the poor sod. During a trip to the toilet, Otacon comes to visit and brings a ration and some ketchup. Snake is very hungry and hasn't eaten anything since getting here, but oops, he manages to get the ketchup all over himself, and the guard sees him and thinks that he's dead and opens up the cell. Success! There's our opening. Snake kicks his ass and then books it out of the torture room to get his stuff back and finds himself at the start of the game. More backtrack for fuck! Snake makes it back to the tower while remembering how much he doesn't give a fuck about Meryl. He enters the communications tower and gets spotted by the very first camera and has to run up a million flights of stairs to escape all the guards. Snake makes it up to the roof where Liquid Snake is shooting at him from his helicopter. Snake uses a rope to jump down the building. He finds a rocket launcher, and then it's boss time. Snake versus Liquid in a helicopter, or rather a game of hide and seek where the helicopter pisses off into the floor for 5 minutes at a time so Snake can have a smoke break while waiting for it to pop up like whack-a-mole. Liquid blows up the tower, Snake blows up the helicopter, and there we go. Snake heads back down the tower and tries to get into the lift, but the alarm goes off and tells him that it's too heavy. He calls up Otacon like, how do I make this lift move? It keeps beeping at me, and Otacon realizes that his stealth camo suits that he should have given Snake earlier, but decided to let him suffer and go without them, they've been stolen, and the guys who stole them in the elevator with him. Snake goes outside and sees a parachute over a fence. Liquid must have jumped out somewhere. He wonders where it could be before getting clipped by a sniper round. Wolf is back. She wants a rematch, but this time it's in a more open space, but Snake is a smart cook and is no longer constrained to the aiming system that's equal to riding a mechanical bull with Parkinson's. This time, Snake has cheats. Wolf is running back and forth, trying to shoot Snake, but Snake uses his heat-seeking missile to blast to smithereens. Wolf is lying there dying as Otacon comes out like, no! Turns out Otacon developed Stockholm Syndrome. The terrorists came in, captured the base, but Otacon saw that there was a pretty sniper lady and started simping. Otacon is upset that Snake killed Wolf. He cheered 10,000 bits and gifted 50 tier 3 subs. His parasocial relationship can't end this way. Snake reaches a furnace room where everything is super hot, then the next room where everything's really cold, and then just beyond here everything is just right. No, the next room's cold as well, and there's a huge elevator. So Master Miller gives Snake a call. It's like, I think Naomi is a spy, and I think she gave you more than a flu jab back at the base, and that's why all the important people are dying. The Colonel gets involved and Naomi is under arrest, and Snake has no idea what's going on. So let's talk about Fox Die. Naomi injects Snake with quote-unquote nano machines, which in the Metal Gear universe is code for magic and or plot filler. Included in this shot was Fox Die, which is a virus designed to kill specific people, this time the DARPA chief, President Baker, and anyone else who might be considered a pain in the arse, Solid Snake included, and that he's gonna die in the near future after everyone else is dead. And the reason why Naomi did this is because Grey Fox, that kinky ninja from earlier, is her brother, but he's actually dead, and a combination of nanomachine bullshit and him being part robot is what's keeping him alive and wanting to fight Snake like the old times from when they were best friends but not best friends. After this long ass conversation, we're at another boss. It's Vulcan Raven, who we saw briefly earlier when Snake was throwing grenades into a tank. He was in the tank but wasn't affected by it blowing up. I don't know. Before starting, he wants to talk about ear pulling and other fetishes that he has, and does some voodoo thing where a bird flies at Snake and prevents him from moving. This boss is essentially a game of Pac-Man where he gets angrier and faster the more he's hurt. He offers a bunch of insight and cryptic riddles, saying that the man that we tried to rescue, the DARPA chief, wasn't really the DARPA chief, but was in fact one of the bad guys in offensive makeup, and for whatever reason, maybe part of some weird method acting gimmick, swapped all of his blood with the chief's blood after he was killed in the torture room by Mantis, which is why he died despite not actually being the DARPA chief, and we'll find out why a little later. While Snake is trying to wrap his head around this mindfuck, a swarm of birds come in and eat Raven. Now it's time for the Metal Gear room, a menacing 100-foot tall robot of a T-Rex with a Sky Digital dish, a railgun, and a laser penis. Snake climbs up a bunch of ladders to get to the control room to disable the robot's nuke capabilities, and eavesdrops on Liquid Snake and Ocelot spilling the tea. Ocelot is talking about his Russian mates and how they're going to be chuffed to bits with the Metal Gear, but then Snake gets spotted and the fancy card he needs to shut down the robot gets shot out of his hand and into the sewers. Back down the ladder we go. The card gets eaten by a rat that Snake has to chase around. Then back back up the ladder we go to use the controls. Turns out there's 3 keys and Snake only has 1. Otacon phones up and he says that he's cracked the code and that the key takes different shapes depending on if they're hot and cold, so maybe you should try and freeze the key to see if it shrivels. He does this for hot too, and then the Metal Gear boots up. It was another trap! Snake gets gassed in the room and calls up his friends and they're not helpful in the slightest. He eventually gets out with Otacon's help and then his phone rings again. It's Master Miller and he says, "Thanks for turning on Metal Gear, mate. The DARPA chief died without giving us his password and we didn't have a clue what we was doing. We tried calling IT support, but they put us on hold for 40 minutes and then they asked us if we turned it off and on again. Decoy Octopus disguised himself as a chief to make you do our tech support for us. Also, I'm Liquid Snake really. Now come out and fight me in this robot." Then Snake fights the robot. He's about to get crushed there before Grey Fox intervenes, revealing that he was actually a good guy, and Snake asks about the whole Naomi stuff, and it turns out that Fox killed Naomi's family and isn't actually her brother. Then Fox dies after waffling. He just didn't shut up. And Snake is like, for fuck's sake, die so I can get back to beating the robot. So he does. Round 2, robot fight time. Liquid Snake wants to ramble about how he was the crap twin, and Snake got all of the good stuff, while he got nothing and nobody came to his birthday party, but everyone went to Snake's. Then his codec rings, and it's a random bloke who's like, "Hello, I'm the Metal Gear Solid regional manager. Colonel Campbell's been replaced and I'm going to blow up the island now. Bye." Liquid Snake wants to fight before the island explodes and gives Solid Snake 3 minutes to beat him, but then this fucker talks for another 30 seconds. Bitch, the clock is ticking. Shut the fuck up. After the 2 brothers fist fight shirtless on top of the robot, Liquid falls off, and then Snake saves Meryl, who slept through this entire thing. They get in a car ready to drive to safety before the island explodes. Liquid is still alive and giving chase in his own car, but this dumbass crashes his car and emerges from the wreck and instantly dies from the Fox die in the most dramatic way possible. Then Snake and Meryl get on a snowmobile, and then Campbell phones up to say that the island isn't being blown up and that the regional manager is a dumbass and a liar and everyone can go on their own way. Then Snake talks to Naomi and tells her the Grey Fox saved him, then makes up some bollocks about how Fox loved her because I don't think he's not your real brother and he killed your real family lol is really going to be helpful. Then Snake and Meryl stare at a deal while Naomi does a voiceover rambling about jeans for a very long time. And credits. But then, a post-credits thing happens where Ocelot is on the phone and reveals that there was a 3rd twin Snake and that he is the President of the United States. And Solid Snake has never once looked at the President and said, "Oh hey, this guy kind of looks like me." And done. And anything I didn't bother explaining, we'll just say nanomachines and call it a day. Deal? Deal. Hi, this is AK here. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you really enjoyed it because you've made it this far, give it a big old thumbs up. And if you're not that enthusiastic about anything in life, just give it a little thumbs up as well. Any thumbs are good, except for the down ones. Tell me in the comments as well what games you'd like me to cover and do in this poorly explained format. Over the Resident Evil poster, there's Resident Evil 4. Go watch that, and there's that thing there that tells you to subscribe. And do the thing where you ring the bell, and the butler comes, or he doesn't come. No, you just get notified about things happening in the channel. Anyway, cheers for watching. Till next time. Bye bye.